Last fall, we dug up cannas from the garden to store indoors over the winter. And today I'm going to pot some of these up. Now, we can wait until the soils warm up outside and the threat of frost has passed and replant our cannas directly into the garden. But I'd like to give them a little bit of a head start by starting the bulbs indoors. With cannas, they won't flower until they've reached their full height. So by potting them up, we're going to give them a little bit of an advantage and we'll get some flowers earlier in the season. Now, once I remove the bulbs from storage, I like to look through them and find any bulbs that are diseased. Usually I'm looking for a real mushy material like this. I don't want to replant that in the garden and possibly spread disease to other bulbs. Also, this won't be very healthy. It won't grow well. So I'm going to discard these and keep only the healthy bulbs. These will have more of a white colored tissue. Now, if you look closely at your bulbs, you'll see that sometimes there's several little pieces or little bulblets together. We call these pups. And what this is a form of asexual reproduction. This is a natural way that the plants multiply. Now, we call cannas bulbs, but really what they are is a rhizome, and a rhizome is an underground stem. So the way that cannas reproduce is that a mother plant, or bulb, we can call it, will send out a shoot underground, and then new bulblets or new plants will form along those underground stems. Now, we can do what Mother Nature does and use this to multiply our plants by simply cutting apart these bulblets. You want to use a nice sharp blade and cut the stem between the plants. And this one I'm going to go ahead and divide it into 3 or 4 sections. You want each new section to have a growing shoot. So see, we have a new shoot. This is where our plant will emerge. It's okay if it doesn't have roots. Most of my sections do, but the roots will form once the plant begins to grow. To pot these, we want to use a real loose media that's going to be well drained. And remember, you want to find a container that has drainage holes at the bottom so we don't get standing water. And cannas are going to need a fairly large pot because they have a very big root system. So a 1 gallon or even larger will work. And start by filling that container about 2/3 of the way full of soil. And I like to water the soil down a little bit just so that it starts to settle in the container. I also do this because I want to make sure our roots have a really good contact in the soil. So take your pups and set them in the container, making sure to press it in gently. And if you have long roots, spread those out laterally. And then we'll bring this back over to our little potting tub and fill it the rest of the way with soil, making sure that those roots get buried. It's okay if the little shoot tip sticks out at the top of the soil, but we don't want the roots to stick out because they'll dry up. And then we're going to bring it over and, of course, water it. Now, with watering our cannas, we want the soil to be damp but not wet. This will soak in a little bit, and keep it damp until the plants start to grow. We want to put our potted cannas in a bright location that's warm but out of direct sunlight. And in a few weeks, we'll start to see the rhizomes will green up and the shoots will start to emerge. We'll have leaves begin to grow and extend, and then eventually they'll unfold. Now, as the cannas move from the dormant stage to a more active stage, they're going to utilize more water, but we still want to avoid having a really wet medium. Just keep it nice and damp. Also, once we see foliage, we can add a slow-release fertilizer to the container and then move that pot into a brighter area, more direct sunlight, such as a south-facing window. And then we'll allow those to grow a few more weeks until the threat of frost has passed, at which time we can move them out into the garden directly or pot them up in containers outdoors.